Hey guys, Berks here with a quick look at the 322 Evocati patch notes. If you don't know what Evocati is, essentially it's the private test group of Star Citizen. You can't share images or videos or stream it, and you got to sign an NDA to be a part of it. And usually they're including active testers who are a part of this group. Now there are some people who like to leak from Evocati, and that basically consists of the Pipeline Discord. Other people do it as well, but Pipeline's the big one. And I reference them a lot, so I'm going to link them down below. It's just discord.gg/pipeline-sc. So if you guys want to join that, if that's your kind of thing, you want the latest leaks, then definitely hit them up. But these are the 322 patch notes. This is just general information about the patch. That they strongly believe that you should delete your user folder and blah, 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 which I'm not really sure why they say this still, because I feel like the shaders is the big thing. Deleting user folder isn't something I've done in years. So I don't think it's a huge issue. And then they say, note that it does not contain all the features which are intended, which this is just like the standard now for them, because people do leak this and then they see a feature's not in and then they're like, oh no, it's not in, and they freak out. Because CIG promised, but it's like you're not even supposed to know that it's not in, So, but CIG is just saying that all these features are supposed to be in, but this is a testing thing and they're not in yet. So number one is this release is mostly for stability testing purposes. We will be monitoring and reporting the findings on tonight's build, stability testing. And then these are all the features that are supposed to be in 322, but are not in yet. Features not ready for feedback and testing. This build is these features listed here may be in the build, but in a partial state or not ready for feedback or testing, and may be subject to removal. We're requesting that players not give feedback for these new features listed below. So they're basically saying, if you do these things, don't tell us yet. Because they're not in a state where we want feedback. So player hair update, new derelict settlements, salvage structural, inventory open containers, and then arena commander new maps. Cool. So this is like the big chunk of 322 that's not ready yet, actually. So if you don't know about the player hair update, they demoed this at CitizenCon, and essentially it is just a top to bottom, very detailed update on how the hair system works. They had all sorts of they had like an ombre going on. They had like different colors and like all sorts of stuff. It was really impressive, but I guess I'm confused how they are going to deliver the hair update without the rest of the features that they showed off for the player customization. Are we getting the new UI? I'm assuming not. But that's very interesting. The other thing is the new derelict settlements. I'm assuming these are the derelict settlements that we've seen in Pyro being ported over. Not the settlements, but the derelict settlements, the abandoned ones. That's what I'm imagining these are. And those are going to be put in Stanton. Salvage structural, excuse me. If you don't know what this is, essentially it is kind of hole munching, but think about it like this. You're cutting a Avenger Titan into multiple pieces, and it's like you cut it into thirds, and it basically disintegrates it or munches it. I'm not really sure. Munching is just you grab the ship and you eat it, or you on the Vulture, it's like a little laser beam grid thing. I'm not really sure how this is going to work, but it sounds cool. I think that having just hole scraping is a little bit absurd, right? And so this maybe will bring a little bit more balance to salvaging, since in my opinion, it's in a bit of a low state at the moment. When a lot of people think salvage, they think the derelict missions where you can grab boxes. That's not what I think. When I think salvage, I'm thinking about looting components, which is worthless kind of at the moment, right? I think the max you can get is maybe 16K for a component, and it's rare. And then hole scraping, and then finding boxes sometimes. That's part of salvage, but I feel like the main priority should be components, weapons, and then obviously taking valuable materials from the ship. That's what I think of when I think salvage. So this is a good step in the right direction. Inventory open cargo containers. If you don't know what this is, essentially just think a big shipping container, like in real life. You're going to be able to put your stuff in those. I don't really know what the end goal is for this. If I guess maybe there's going to be shielded containers in the future. You could throw drugs in and you scan it, and it's Pico balls. I don't know. Just like some sort of a replacement, or if this is just supposed to be for like general storage for like maybe your hangar in the future when we have persistent hangars, but very interesting. And then Arena Commander new maps. There was one that like sounded like Blood Gulch a little bit from Halo. So that sounds cool to me. So it's FPS and also flight maps. They're both atmosphere, I think, coming in. Multi-crew update. So if you guys don't know, essentially for since the beginning of Star Citizen, if you wanted to load into Arena Commander and jump in another ship with another person, you had to go into free flight. It was the only mode you could do it in, and you had to get out of your ship and EVA to them. And then once you EVA to them, you get into their ship and then get into your seat. No longer is that the case. Moving forward in this update, you're going to actually be able to join people's ships from the menu, is what I'm being told. So, this is like, none of this is like really leaked information, by the way, guys. This is all like known. You can see all this like on the roadmap. I'm pretty sure. Here, hold on. So it's funny that I'm like, this is like top secret information. It's leaked, because literally all of these things right here, I'm almost positive are all on the roadmap. Yeah, player hair update, derelict settlements, gameplay, structural, cargo containers, new map, multi-crew, and then vehicles. This is something that is not on the notes, FYI, but it's something that I'm really hoping comes. The Santok Ya. This thing looks really cool. It's supposed to be a heavy fighter, or it was supposed to be a heavy fighter. It says medium right here. Interesting. Maybe it was supposed to be a medium fighter, and I'm just misremembering. But this thing will be really cool. Very excited for how it's going to fly. If you don't know, they just nerfed the Cartual like an update ago. Cartual used to have 36 Gs of tricord, and it was like something ridiculous, like 26 forward. That's not the case anymore. They've nerfed it. I wonder if the reason why is in preparation for them adding the second version of that ship, right? The Cartual's like kind of brother to the game, and they wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be like wacky balance, since this thing has 4 size 3s, right? The Cartual has 2 size 4s, which is okay. Sounds better than it actually is, but it's kind of like a Talon, but with a massive hitbox. So the other thing that's coming in is the X1, right? Potentially. I'm really excited for these. I don't know how much variation these are going to have in them. The velocity versus the force versus the original. But I'll tell you guys what I said last night, okay? This is my official request, and maybe I'll make a tweet about this or something, or a Spectrum post, but this is my official request to make all of these ground Gravlev vehicles fly like the hover quad. The hover quad, I think, flies the best. It's so fun to drive that thing around. And I haven't flown it in years. Why? Because, well, or I don't know, like a year and a half, I haven't flown a hover quad. But the reason why I haven't flown it is because it doesn't have guns. So I was like, oh, why would I fly this thing? Turns out this thing flies better than all the other ones. And it's very responsive. It's very, like, can cut corners and stuff. The Dragonfly, very drifty, very not fun to fly. And I think that at the core of these ships, when they come in the game, they should be really fun to fly, right? Like, I'm thinking, like, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate comments for this, but Destiny did it really well with their Sparrows. And I'm not saying it needs to be quite like that. I'm just saying, like, it could be less arcadey, of course. But I think the responsiveness, I think the traversal, I think the way that these things, like, behave in the environment, I think that's how I would like to see these things do. And to be honest with you, that's kind of how the hover quad feels. It kind of feels exactly the way I'm talking about. So I'm really excited to see how these things fly and see how they behave when we get them in the game. I guess we'll have to see. I'm also interested to see if any racers are going to make dedicated tracks just for these things. I guess you could do the snake pit, but what else do we have here? Known issues, just a big list of known issues that some of these will go away. Some of them will stay in before we get to PTU. And gameplay, vehicle updates, tractor and towing updates. Made several UI position changes to help increase readability. Several updates include deflection flipped in the SRV cockpit. Range bar ease factor. Target name above status. Okay. Force bar fixes and includes centering force, throttle, gimbal, and widgets, and hidden turrets, towing scale up, turret orientation, feedback, and more marked, radar plane, more perspective, and range bar readability improvements. Okay, interesting. Sorry, I'm just taking all this in. I think I'm just going to have to see what all that means, and I'm going to have to hop in an SRV next time I'm in the PTU, or when this launches, to get a look at this myself, because all that sounds really interesting. I think I just need to see it in front of me. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will give you any updates that I hear on 322. Of course, we're going to be playing it live on Twitch. So if you want to follow me there, Twitch.com/Berks. You know the place. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.